time when I think about when people think like, oh, you're an online educator, what do you do? And the first thing that I think of is I want people to know that, yes, I'm an online educator, but also I want people to know that I still have like the same passion for teaching and helping students out. So when I'm working my day-to-day life and I'm working with students and I'm getting messages with them and they're sending in assignments, it's like I still have that feeling, that urge of, okay, I need to get my work done. I want to make them successful. I want to make sure I get all my grading in. I want to make sure that I'm reaching out to them, answering any questions that they have. And I try and do it as quickly as I possibly can, because I hate to have a student kind of sit back and wait and be like, oh my gosh, I messaged the teacher like hours ago and they still haven't like responded. So I always want to make sure that I am as timely as possible.
First of all, how I get to work with adult students, which is a little different, because most of the time in my brick and mortar building, I work with teenagers. So that's has always been a different experience. And then I get to work with people in different states and learn about different people from all different ages, backgrounds, cultures.
It can be challenging in ways, and it can be rewarding in other ways. Challenging in the sense that we're somewhat disconnected from the students, and it's virtual. Virtual teaching is somewhat of a new profession, I guess you would say, in the sense of teaching. So there's some challenges there as we figure out, how to best do this. But it's rewarding in other ways when we get some feedback from students who really appreciate the flexibility and the alternative that Graduation Alliance affords them.
I would love non-teachers to know how much work it actually does involve. I think it's a lot more than just grading off of the internet. It's challenging when it comes to managing everything and being in a space that is quiet enough to concentrate.
I wish they knew that every student is somebody that we look at as individual. It's not a group of people. I wish they knew that we see them.
I think there's this I don't know, a stereotype that online schooling is this very depersonalized, like it's just, I don't know, there's no connection with students. And in some ways I think there's more, because I'm freed from all of the paperwork and lesson planning and just like the political nonsense that goes on in a brick and mortar. And it's just 100%, I'm serving students. And I think in some ways there's more of a relationship with kids. I mean, there's ones that just shuffle through, right? But there's other times where I'm like, I don't know that I made this deep of a connection with a brick and mortar student. So
I wish they knew that it's not impersonal and sterile. I think the second I tell people that, I teach online, they kind of think of it as I have no actual interactions. And I really kind of feel like it's the opposite. I have so many relationships with individual students because it's just me and them. I can kind of walk with them wherever they are throughout the class or whatever assignment that they need help with. We're doing it one-on-one, whereas in a traditional setting, it's so much more group-oriented.
I think I wish people knew that I care so deeply about the abilities of my students when I notice that they can't read at grade level. I mean, honestly, sometimes it creates anxiety because I think of how many doors will be shut for them. And so I just really, really, really care. And it's a lot of grading. And I'm an English teacher, and so it is a lot of grading essays. Like a lot. And so that can get very overwhelming.
We're more than just graders. Like when I tell people that I teach with during the day and I say, oh, I have this, part-time job where I teach online. And I think they kind of instantly think like, oh, you just push buttons. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that we are still teachers, and the outcome of our students is just as important as the ones that I have sitting in my class during the day. And to them, I'm still their teacher. So I still communicate with them. Sometimes it's more through email, obviously through the chat, but they still ask those same questions. I still offer that same support.
Biggest thing is that we're not robots. I know that sounds like it's not meant as a negative. It's really meant more as a positive, that I want people to know that there's definitely a person behind the grading machine, if that makes sense. I think, and I've even heard it from colleagues that work in like my brick and mortar, my old brick and mortar, that like online schools are just like a conveyor belt sending students through. And that was really upsetting because I actually work harder to know my students, I think, online because of the natural barriers with it not being face to face, that it's important for me to have a personal voice